Hi everyone, welcome back to our Azure DevOps learning series. On the last session, we have learned about how to deploy the pipeline artifact that has been generated within a CI pipeline to our next stage and get it deployed on any environment. Today, we will continue the same session to show how to use and deploy the Azure based artifact and how you can choose a specific version of that artifact as and when needed. As you remembered that we talked about Azure Artifact, if you are storing your artifact as part of Azure Artifactory feed, you can reuse that artifact as and when needed as many times as you want. And if you want to be a specific version, that also you can choose. Now let's see how you can utilize the Azure Artifactory feed and how that has been specific version be used in your pipeline. So let's continue on to the same pipeline that we discussed last time. And here I have created another stage with the name as deploy Azure Artifact, which is again the build depends upon the build stage only, so that both the pipeline artifact and Azure Artifact can be shown in parallel as part of this demo. Here you can see the few things that I have mentioned specifically, the package name. If you remembered when we did the CI section, we have packed and published the artifact. And when we are publishing this artifact to the Azure Artifactory, it will create the artifact with the solution name that is been there for the .NET perspective, or you can define and choose your own package name. But you can see here I have given the package name that has been created as part of the CI. This time I have been more specific that I want to be utilized only the version 1.0.302 for this deployment. I don't want to go with the latest version. If you want to go to the latest version, you don't need to be give this package version information. But if you want to be specific version to be used, be specific with the version number here, followed by the feed. You remembered when we discussed, we had created a feed onto the Azure Artifactory. There seems to be some networking issue. Let's see how it will go. Yeah, you can see we have created this feed, the project feed, where I have given the name as my project feed, which is at my project scope level, and by default the organization scope that has been created, but we have used the projects feed. Here within a pipeline, I mentioned the same, that within this folder or a project, my feed name is my project feed. Once this has been done, all the variables that has been defined, then we will move towards the job, what we want to be used or going to be create a steps for this deployment activity. What we are going to be used here, you can see similar way I've created one environment to be a more controlled on the stage that we are going to be triggered, and to be add reviewer as needed, followed by the steps that is needed for the deployment. It can be anything, as we discussed last time, that you can do this artifact either to Azure web app or any other web app or any window machine or the VM machine that has been created onto the cloud. So any cloud based deployment or any other deployment where you want this artifact to be deployed, you can mention all those steps as part of this deployment stage. So here you can see what we are going to here is again the task for the NuGet installer, again authenticate. Now you can see this command NuGet command, where command type is custom. If we want to go with the custom one, that we have to be specific with the version and other things. Install with the version that we have passed. Source can be defined because we have choose the project feed and that has not been done directly. I've passed the project feed. It can be dynamic as needed. followed by the output directory where I want the artifact or the result to be stored, followed by any other task that you want to be give. Here I've just given again the similar way the echo and the dir on this one. Let's see when we are going to be execute this particular part specifically with the download and the environment that has been defined in order to see whether it will ask for the reviewer or not. So let's jump to our pipeline. Now this time I will go and create a new pipeline rather than we'll use the previous one. Let's trigger the new pipeline with the main and we'll wait for that to be completed. Now you can see both things as we have defined is coming up in parallel. Let me finish the previous one or the cancel this one in order to just to make sure the other can get started quickly. I will make sure, yeah, this task has been cancelled now, and I hope now build is going to be triggered as needed. Now you can see that it is waiting for the agent to be acquired. We have used for this demo or for this complete lab, we are using the Microsoft based agent, where on the free version perspective it will only allow us to be execute one job at a time. It is still waiting for the agent from the Microsoft side. Let's wait for that one. But in the meanwhile, let me show you again to our CI pipeline that what all things that has been defined here, that specific version which you want to be used for your deployment perspective, your package name, and more specifically the feed name. If you are defining the project based feed, this path is pretty much important. If it's an organization based, then it can be pick it up and it can be get authenticated and downloaded. But if it is a project specific, then the path and the authentication is needed from the Azure Artifactory feed. Followed by the another important part is our environment. Let me show you this environment part along with the feed we have discussed that on the Artifactory feed we have created this dev1 environment, and here you can see the approver one. I have given the approver here, and what condition that has been done, that at least one approver must approve it. We are not going with both the approver to approve it right now. For this demo we are going only with at least one approver, but for your project perspective, as and when it is needed, you can set it up the execution or you can set it up the approver for your pipeline. Seems to be that it is still not been able to connect to the Azure agent. We come back and see that how this is coming up. Not sure whether anything going on at the back side, and it is not able to acquire any agent right now. Let's see whether there are many multiple jobs are running or not. See, this is a basic problem. It can be occurred at any time to anyone, like when you are going to be used the Microsoft based agent and you are on the free plan, can happen that your basic one get completed. So we are waiting for that one, that if it is been able to pick it up. It seems like the agent has been picked up. Let's go back to the pipeline and see whether this has been started or not. To the pipeline started or not? Let's see. If not, then we'll wait back and come back here. No, it seems like it is still be waiting for that one. So we'll come back on this one and we'll see that how this stage has get completed. But I will show you the another one that I did as part of the demo, or ready to be get this demo. Now you can see when this part has been executed along with the other parallel stage, this is how it get downloaded and connect to the Azure Artifactory feed. You can see this one will connect to the Azure Artifactory feed and it downloaded the specific version that we want to be extracted. Now you can see this one, install the package with the version as 1.0.302. However, on our Artifactory feed, if I can go back to my artifacts, yes, now you can see the latest version is 1.0.314. However, what we have selected from this complete version list as this version. And along with this version, you can see that it get downloads twice or two times with only the same user. So that is the way that at any time we need to see that if any specific version has been used for any pipeline, it can be shown up right here, so that if you're looking for to upgrade any version or to make the backward compatible, you can figure it out which all code base that has been using your specific version. Thank you so much. And this is how you can see and you can specify the version from the Azure Artifact, reuse it as and when needed, and get it utilized for your project. Thank you so much. On the upcoming session, we will go through with some other type of pipeline like the Azure function, or go with the Helm chat for the AKS deployment. Thank you.